them in too. But we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for taking time to do this. As you know, we're not holding in-person meetings to be safe. So this is an opportunity for us to connect to you and for you to basically give updates of what's going on in your ward and things that affect Princeton Heights. And since last time we met, we have a new member, which is Vicky. So congratulations on your election, Vicky. Welcome to Princeton Heights. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Vicky, why don't you go ahead and take some time, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about you. Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are. So, Vicky Grass, I'm not going to tell you my age. I live on Lewis Street, right off of Germania, close to, I'm like a block north of River de Pere at Sharp. I grew up in Washington, Missouri, in Jeff City, and I moved to St. Louis in 1971. I've lived here ever since. I have 2 kids, 44 and 46, and 1 granddaughter who's 16. I love my ward. Politics in St. Louis is a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
That I'm just getting familiar with now, but I'm kind of enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
Most of the time, unless I'm at a committee meeting that, you know, may not be really pleasant, but for the most part, I'm enjoying the citizen stuff. I'm retired. I'm having a good time. I'm trying to smile every day through this crazy 2020.
Yeah, you picked a good year. You picked a good year to get elected into office and get thrown into the chaos, right? No better time but the present.
It's really strange being, well, 1, being elected during COVID, and 2, not interacting with my peers at the Board of Aldermen, because, and then you don't meet all the people from all the departments. So
sure.
you got to do everything over Zoom, and it's entirely different unless you're willing to sit on the front porch with me. Or I could come to you, but it's very different, I think, than from what most folks have had when they're elected to the Board of Aldermen.
Sure.
Strange. Yeah. Carol and Beth have been awesome. Oldenburg has been awesome. The lady that I ran that also won in the special election, Dwin Evans from the 4th Ward, is very nice. I don't really know a lot of other folks, so it's very strange.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you, and we're looking forward to working with you. So, can
I just say one more thing?
Yeah, of course.
Larry Arnowitz, good, bad, or otherwise, it's immaterial. He's struggling. He leaves on the 15th of October. His wife is having surgery on her vocal cords tomorrow. I think Larry did a pretty good job in his ward, in our ward, and that other stuff. So I have feelings about him both ways, but yeah, he's leaving.
Yeah, well, and we pray for his family. It's been a tough year for them, for sure, going back to his daughter's unexpected death, and
yes,
yeah, you feel for him. All right, let me go ahead and start tossing some questions. And the first one I want to bring up actually is for you, Vicky. And if Tom hops in, we'll get him on this one too. There's a traffic study that's been done or is being done about Hampton.
Yes.
That we got asked about. And so while I have you on the main screen, if you could talk a little bit about the resurfacing project for Hampton, where that's at, and what you need to communicate to the Princeton Heights neighbors that live along that area.
Well, funny you should mention this, because on the 20th of October, we're going to have a dry run on a community Zoom meeting. And then we're going to have then we're going to send it out. We're going to send the notice out to everyone that is relative to the Hampton traffic study. And we're going to have a public meeting on Zoom so that everybody can know about it. And that will probably be the end of October or early November.
Okay.
I don't remember the date exactly, and I'm afraid that if I try to go find it right now, I'll lose you.
Yeah.
So it's $1 million. for everything that they had proposed to do. So I don't think that it's going to get, that is certainly not going to get done in its entirety, because 16th and the 12th don't have that much money.
Right.
But it is progressing. There will be some improvements. We won't know until we hear what you guys all have to say. Exactly.
Okay.
So, but it's coming within probably the next 30 days, that community meeting.
Okay, and we'll help you get that information out via our channels if you just get that to us.
Okay, awesome.
Anything else? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, for sure.
If I could just, the Gatewood Cemetery.
Yeah,
That backs up to Hampton, but enters through Gravois.
Yeah.
So there's a Boy Scout who's working toward his Eagle Scout badge.
Very well to the conditions we asked them to do. Matter of fact, they bought a building, I think it's a blue building on Gravois across the street. They bought that building and are going to do some car repair in there, and it also has a lot. So they wouldn't be doing their lot. But I think, in my estimation, I talked to the businesses on the other side of Gravois that complained that he parked his cars over there, and blah, 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 that he is not doing that anymore. And I am in favor of allowing them to, proceed, stay in business, especially if, and obviously we will be keeping an eye on them, and they know that for sure. They know Princeton Heights is watching, and they know I'm watching. But all in all, they've been, I think, very good. We had trouble with a business in the back. They sold that, so we cleaned that up. They bought the building right next door to them, just to the left of them, and they rent that out. That was boarded up or burned out for years. I think they're trying, is my point. So I guess we'll have to talk about that. Then the other issue Bev and I have discussed is a business that wants to go in on Kings Highway, just to the right of Novella Wine, bar. And it is a Latino boutique, she is calling it, a boutique. And initially we were kind of, we're all apprehensive, and I suggested that Bev and I meet with her in person. It's one of those things where they bought the building, and the real estate agent says, oh, it's zoned commercial, leading her to believe she can do anything she wants. And so when the business first started out, at first it sounded all right, then it sounded more like a convenience store. So then Bev and I were kind of we had a red light went on when we heard that. So I have talked to her since, and she is it's going to be a more upscale Latino merchandise, food, packaged food. She will have some produce. She says it's going to be a boutique. She will sell liquor. She will ask for a liquor license, but no, because my thing was no single liquor, no tall boys and that kind of stuff. And she said no EBT cards. And then I also said she would have to comply with the, I guess the ordinances or whatever, the conditions about the window. What happens so often in convenience stores is that it's always the cigarette price signs are plastered all over the windows, and all that stuff. She will not do that. It's not going to be a deli or anything. She said it's not going to be a bodega, nothing like that. And I wanted Bev and I to sit and talk with her so we can get these things set in person and get these conditions written down. So when she goes, for her hearing, she told me hours would be Monday through Saturday, like 9 to 7, and then Sunday, 11 or 12 to 6. But then I think Bev thought she heard some different hours. So I think we need, before we, make a decision, it is a business area, and we need to maybe get this in person and kind of written down, sort of
Sure.
thing. Did we
Yeah.
ever?
Can you hear me, Beth?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you for all of that, because I know Bev has worked a lot with you on those two issues, and we've
Mhm.
obviously the last time we met, I think the last time we met was when we had the issue with the Holly Hills Auto people,
Yes.
and so it's good to see that they have taken the criticism seriously and have worked to remedy the situation, instead of that was very kind of confrontational, like they were going to hardball you and the city.
Mhm.
So it's good to hear that they've kind of changed their tune a little bit.
Yeah, and they certainly know that we're on them. They know Bev is watching them. They know I'm watching them, and you know the police are watching. So if they start, you know, doing any of that again, you know, blocking the sidewalk and you know all that kind of stuff, that they know we're going to be there in a New York minute, so to speak. So
Yeah.
you know,
Hey,
I mean,
and Beth,
anyway,
I
that's
thought
the way I feel about that. Bev may have something else to say, but to me, they have improved, you know, 80%. You know, I mean, nothing's perfect, but you know, I talked to the owners across the street. They're not parking over there anymore. You know, and they're trying to be good citizens. They certainly have bought a lot of property in Princeton Heights that would otherwise be vacant, and I think that's a plus too. That's just where I'm coming from. You know. It is a used car dealership, and you know sometimes they're not the prettiest. I think theirs is very nice. They took down a sign that wasn't code or something. You know, I mean they're trying. You know. So anyway, that may have something to say now.
Yeah, Bev, do you want to add anything?
Bev, you have mute on, so nobody can hear you.
Can you text her?
Oh, there it is. I think
It's
I
not
got
talking.
Yeah.
Her lips aren't moving.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, she was talking. Her mute is on, the symbol's on, so she can't talk unless you see that little down your lower left-hand
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
No,
Not
There
showing.
you are.
There you
I
go.
am
Now you
muted.
can talk.
Bev, I am muted.
it's
you.
not
Go
on the
ahead.
lower corner.
Yeah,
Um,
Bev, you're good now. Go ahead.
Sorry, my other connections weren't working.
That's all right.
So Arch Auto, they were going
Yeah.
to dismiss that. And with all the complaints that we've had, and I've still got some that I couldn't even send via email because it was just too big. They decided to continue it, make them reapply for conditional use again. So they're trying to straighten up somewhat. I'm still making regular trips around there. Some of the neighbors are still watching out because a lot of it has to do with the trash now that's piling up and back. So we're just hoping they're going to be compliant because even the hours are off.
Yeah.
They're
I think they're
advertising
going.
different than the conditional use.
Yeah. Well, if they have to reapply again, that will all have to, you know, be in sync. If
Right.
they reapply again, if they, you know, want to change, I think they said originally it was 5 and they're working till 7 or something. That'll have to be in the conditional use. Same way with the trash. Maybe they have to get it picked up more often or something. I don't know. If we spoke to them about that, I will certainly go over and speak to them about that. I don't hear any of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they want something done, they need to tell me, and then I can certainly, you know, I assume they have commercial trash pickup.
Yeah.
Or they using city.
Yeah, but there's some city dumpsters back there too.
Yeah,
And
well, that's fine. That's fine.
That's a lot of it hasn't been put in either one. That's the problem.
Are you sure it's them?
They got renters there.
Well, I'm
And the
just saying.
neighbors nearby said it's from them because it's not from any of them around there.
Well, everybody says it's not for them.
So,
If this is
right.
continuous, we can maybe get a camera there.
That would be nice.
Well, that or if they call when they see them, that
Right.
That would be good too.
Yes, if they call, and then, because if I have a paper trail from like Citizen Service Bureau and things like that, then it's easier for me to get a camera from the trash task force,
For
you know.
sure.
Because everybody says they didn't do it, you know.
Right.
I had that happen on Grand Bates. They complained about the city dumpster, and I saw the lady herself bringing the stuff out and putting it in it, you know. One of those big black things in front. So it can, you know, it seems like sometimes when neighbors have it out for something, they start nitpicking about everything. you know?
Well, this neighbor, I would say, is trustworthy. And I'm not going to
Not our
say,
fellow with the Illinois plates, is it?
no,
Because I don't think that's very credible at all.
no, but it's somebody I'm not going to identify on here.
Well, that's fine. I understand.
So I have a somewhat related question that can go to either the three of you. A couple of the emails we got concern trash pickup, tree cut down, sidewalk replacement. It's my understanding that the city was already behind, and now with COVID, they're even further behind. Is that pretty much correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was a yes all at the same time.
It's
Oh,
frustrating.
God. Yeah. Streets, trash, and trees all day long.
So what do any of you know what the lead time is on this? If somebody were to put in a request
Well,
today,
Here's the
Yeah.
deal. Here's the deal, as Brother Joe says. The thing is, they, you know, we're shorthanded to begin with. We do not have enough personnel to fill all the positions. You know, not too many tree trimmers live on Eichelberger here. Most of the tree trimmers probably live in, you know, more expansive spaces because that's part of the deal. The COVID hit, we were short. People are catching COVID. They're being isolated because they were in contact. So it's just this constant circle of, yes, we have enough people today. We start a job and we don't have enough people tomorrow. It's a constant rotation. It's frustrating for us as well. You know, we call, you know, we've got jobs that were behind 2 years, and, you know, it's critical that some of this stuff gets fixed. And, you know, I frustrate myself, and I don't like getting angry with people. I don't like getting mad, but it's something nobody can help at this point. I would love to be able to give you a time, but I can't because we don't have a time, and we don't know from day to day. You know, if you've got a full crew to pave streets, you know, on Monday, you know, they could be exposed and you've got 3 people out the next day.
right,
So it's,
right.
that's what we're working with. And I would love to be able to tell you something more concrete, but you know, that's just the way things are going. And I mean, it's not just here in the city, it's, you know, you go to the doctor, you know, things change,
right.
Everything's in flux. And that's, I mean, that's the best answer I can give. And I really apologize for that, but that's the best answer I can give.
I'm telling
And now,
people
Carol-
2 to 3 years on trees.
Go ahead, Vic.
I've been telling folks 2 to 3 years on trees just because, well, it's most of them when they call me, they say they've been on the list for 18 months. And when I talk to the guys in forestry or Vicky Wakeland, it pretty much is the same story. So I think it's going to be a long time unless it's an emergency.
Well, and they outsourced on trees early in the year, but I think they just took the most critical issues and worked on those. And I think they left a lot behind, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with it. I don't think any of my colleagues are happy with it, but you know, what can we do?
Didn't they outsource the sidewalk thing as well?
The
Because
sidewalk's been outsourced.
Okay,
That's always been.
because I got a new one in front of my house and I noticed that they've been all over the area. So
Yeah, but see now, those are people that may be on the list already 2 years.
And they were
it's
just
it's
in
the
the 12 ward.
50-50. Yeah, mine was the 50-50 sidewalk program. I think that's all of those.
But it goes on a list, and it usually is about a 2-year turnaround because
Yeah.
we have to, that's consistent. That's always that way.
I
So-
want to speak to the emergency service. I found well, just before COVID hit, we had a branch that was broken off and it was hanging down over the sidewalk and part of the street, and called it in, and forestry was out there that day, later that day, and fixed it. And so
That's good.
they seem
That's
to be
awesome.
very on the ball with that, because
It seems like
you
they
heard
were,
all the stories about how everything was backed up, but when it was an emergency, they were out right away.
Yeah.
they're responsive to lighting and the things that are, that are broke. I can say that, and that's part of the problem too. When they're responding to broke things, it's hard to keep up the maintenance because they are shorthanded.
Now, Carol, too, was it Amarin or Spire that was in Christie Park last week?
It was Spire. I was going to talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Spire came, Christie Park was the planting down there I had done when I was first elected, and they were maintaining it. That we had I think with Baxter Landscaping had a contract, and they maintained it for quite a while, but then that ran out and funds were a little bit short, and all of a sudden, we've got growth everywhere, and it's a problem for sight lines and people maybe inhabiting that. So they were kind enough to come down and clean all that out, and we've got really good sight lines. It looks almost brand new, and a lot of the foliage is filled in where it was, all baby plants 10 years ago. So it looks really nice, and they did a wonderful job, and big shout out to Spire for doing that. And they were under the direction of the parks. I was down there in the morning. I was notified they were going to be there, but I walk my dog every morning down Christie Park, and I was like, oh, I forgot. I don't have my mask. I don't. So it was fun though, but they were very nice, and they got the job done. I went by the next day, and they had all the branches piled up. The next day, the city had picked them up, and everything's cleaned up. And then in relation to that, the paving, I've gotten calls for paving. We do have some terrible, terrible streets that are like riding on an old country road. I don't see it getting done. We talked with my two colleagues here. We did and Larry, the traffic study on South Kings Highway. We still need to go over that and have the community evaluate it and make some decisions about it and put it out there. They did put in, I can't remember the price tag on a new configuration for Christie there by the Southtown Monument, where Christie and Kings Highway come together. They put in a fancy schmancy way of doing that. Would probably alleviate a lot of the confusion. Most of us that live around here know how that flows. But if you come from outside, it's very confusing for people to negotiate that I call it the Christie Triangle. I've seen people going the wrong way every which way because they just don't get it. I don't know that I will have the funds to do that, but I might aspire, if the people want that, might aspire to put that money away to reconfigure that. The other things that they recommended are pretty boilerplate, and they cost money, but not near the expense that this reconfiguration of that area in front of the firehouse would be. So I'm looking forward to getting with our colleagues, and maybe we'll chime in on a Zoom thing for that too also.
And so you are also you are the chair of the government employees
yes,
committee for the board,
personnel,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Now, mindful that we, as a 501c3, can't politic, but there is the question about the residency rule that's coming up, and I know what the mayor's argument is, but could you also just quickly make the argument, because it also would expand to forestry and the entire city, right?
Well, that's I mean, one thing is public safety and being able to hire fire and police from outside the city. I really see us as a metropolitan area, and I think when we put up border walls, it tends to negate our stance in the community. The other thing that people don't seem to be aware of, young families are buying homes up in what I call the ring suburbs, Afton, and they're selling a lot cheaper than homes here. They can buy those little 3-bedroom ranches out there and, add a little bit here and a little bit there. And, they got to find a place for, maybe under 200,000. When you come in the city, it's hard to find something that's move-in ready for that price. I found that with my own family, although they did want to stay in the city, but, they had a budget to adhere to, and it didn't quite work for them. And I think that, to hire somebody and tell them they have to move in within 180 days to keep a job is sometimes off-putting. Our city has a lot to offer. There's no denying that. But I think having that as a condition of employment can be off-putting. So I think that we need to get with the program. We're one of the, I don't think any other municipality in the St. Louis area requires that you live in the city you work in. I'm sure and we have I think that we could put some incentives towards people that live in the city, maybe a salary. We pay people to go out to the airport and to the water plants. They get extra money. And I think that would eliminate that. And most big cities do not have a residency requirement. Most of them have abolished it. I just think that we're when you talk about being more metropolitan, I think that, we need to get over this and let people live where they will. Now, do we want them 200 miles out? No. I mean, I want my first responders within an hour away. And I think a lot of people will stay in the city because they know it's good business. If I didn't know this, but I thought it was always a requirement. My dad was a police officer. I thought it was always a requirement they lived in the city. And back, that wasn't the truth, but we remained in the city because it was just good business. And I think we have a lot of people. I mean, I've got police officers all around me here, 2 or 3 in the neighborhood here, and I think they do it because they just feel that's the right thing to do. And I have firefighters living nearby also. So, I mean, to put that as a condition of employment, I think it really cuts down the possibilities for the city of quality employees. So, not to say we don't have quality employees here in the city, but I think, we need to cast a wider net.
I recall when Jimmy Edwards came to talk to one of our meetings, and he mentioned that he could fill all his empty spots from Jefferson County, but he wasn't sure the people that were coming from Jefferson County would be very good at policing in the city, because the issues and the notions of folks who are going to sign up to be police in St. Louis from Jefferson County probably weren't people that he was very interested in hiring.
I don't know. I think if we have a qualified person, regardless of where they live, I mean, that to me is sort of casting, being setting up a profile. I mean, I think I would say maybe Jimmy misspoke there. I don't know. I don't want to cast people from Jefferson County as being this or that, as I don't want people from South St. Louis being this or that. So I think we need to be open. We need to hire the most qualified people across the board. The only qualification I think for emergency responders is stay close enough to get here when we need you. So.
I agree with everything Carol has said. I'm gonna just say what I think. I hope Jimmy Edwards misspoke, because I think that was a terrible statement to make, if in fact that's what he said. But I also believe that the city has turned a blind eye to folks living outside of the city for quite a few years now. And I think fire and police have done it for a long time, and I think city employees as well have. So this is not anything new to the city of St. Louis, with folks living outside of the city. And, well, oh my gosh, all of those folks still come in and do their jobs, and they're doing pretty good. City employees, in my mind, are some of the best I have since I have been elected, which hasn't been that long ago. Man, they've done a great job. I can't say enough good about them. So wherever they want to live, they should live. You need to be.
And I
able
might add to
choose
that,
your own.
Vicki, it's caused a lot of, I would say, employment malpractice. I mean, when people work and do their job and then all of a sudden something goes wrong and maybe the supervisor knew they've been living out of the city and that's a reason to let them go. It's not quite fair, you know, like you said, sometimes a blind eye is turned until it becomes critical. And that's, you know, that's a dirty little secret that's out there. Don't tell anyone.
I wanted to ask you guys, we've got Mayor Cruzen is joining us on Thursday. And so there's two quick things I wanted to point to the three of you, and then we can wrap up with whatever else you all might have. I know the CARES Act has quite a bit of assistance for homeowners, renters, if you're having troubles meeting your obligations. I know that the board is working on appropriating some more of that. Can either of the three of you just touch on what help is available from the city if you're having issues due to COVID?
Well, I have a bill that's, I guess about $2 million to be appropriated for renters and that. But everybody, homeowners, whatever, mortgage, you have to apply for it. You know, it's an application process, and then they award it according to that. But I know we're going to get an additional $2 million. But my bill just covers renters, and hopefully that will go through without any trouble, and so that those monies can be out there again. You know, I know they, as far as I guess renters, they're still not evicting anybody unless it's a criminal case, or a criminal drug case or something. Because I mean, I have a couple cases in my ward that started before COVID, and these yo-yos are allowed to be there all this time. Well, now they're actually getting, called into court, because these were things that had nothing to do with COVID, and I was able to finally get one person evicted, but I know it all goes by application and everything. You have to follow all the federal guidelines, and the mayor would probably be, she'll have a lot, of information on that too. But we don't seem like we're getting as much as the county's getting. The county gets more per capita than we do, which I don't understand. But see, our money, most of our money has to go through the governor. It goes through the state, see. Then it comes to us, and we're not necessarily their best friends all the time. So, but
the governor was out sick. Give him a break.
that's right. Yeah,
I have a question. I have a question. My concern is more about the police department, and these are approximate figures. Supposedly, we should have around 300 policemen, give or take 10. But then we only have.
Can I ask who's speaking?
Vicky.
Sharon Howard.
Oh, okay. You're not on the screen, and that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Okay. Let me start over then.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was like, who's talking?
Approximately, we should have a force, and give or take 10 or 15 people either way. But approximately, we're supposed to have 300 policemen, and we're short. And I'm just going by, they're just rounding these numbers around. We're short 150. So that means we only have 150 policemen.
No, it's 1,300. I think our full force is 1,300.
Policemen on the street?
Yeah.
Well, the whole force is 1,300. And I think they said the other day we were about 130 sharp. They were at Holly Hills had a neighborhood meeting last week, and I believe they said we're 130 sharp.
Of the 13.
That means the whole department.
150 is the whole department right now.
No, we're about 130 short, they said.
Yeah, right. So what I'm saying, of those, what I'm saying, I'm rounding these numbers up, 10, 15 either way. I'm just making it easy. So then Kim Gardner now has said she won't see 75 cases of that 150. So we only have 75 policemen that can
No.
actually,
No, there's more than, there's not just 150 police officers on the street.
what is the total police that should be on the
Aaron?
streets?
Oh, I don't know how many are on the street at any given time. The total force is, I think it's 1,300. I think that's their, right around 1,300. Now, how many are on the given street at any one time, I don't know, because you have patrols, you have homicide, you have the drug, you have all the different departments, you know, that are out and about. But I see, I know what you're saying about, she did. I think there's like 75 officers that she won't entertain any cases from them. And right, there has to be some sort of remedy about that.
Because I know folks that if she gets elected is going to move out of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what, I mean, this isn't a political question, but I thought, because, you know, and then nobody, you know, they can't go to, don't have to put up bail, and we have all kinds of criminals on the streets. And then the other thing that I'm concerned about, all these little neighborhood things are happening, like trash dumpsters are getting caught on fire. We as people are not being notified all this to be concerned about, so that we can also watch out and try and help. Is there a reason why we're not being informed of all the, Mr. Wilson used to give us reports,
Well,
and he
still
just
does.
started again. But this
Still
just
does. If
happened
you have
about
this
3.
email, if you have, if Officer Wilson has your email and he's got the ton, you get I got some today about.
Yeah, I started getting, but this
Yeah.
happened a few weeks back,
Oh.
and we need to know if people's going around putting dumpsters on fire.
Fire
and
does
stuff.
not send out reports.
Mm-mm.
They
we
don't
don't
send
get
out any reports?
That we
No.
do not get reports on that.
Well,
We
doesn't
can
the
call
police?
and ask.
It's on like Nextdoor or Facebook or something, you'll see something, but the fire department doesn't give a report like the police do.
Well, I think they should, so we know what's going on too.
Yeah.
That's a suggestion. Maybe you can bring it up, that they should let us know.
Good point.
Sure. I'll talk to the fire chief.
Yeah, you have an in, Vicky.
There may be reasons why
Yes,
they
I
don't.
do.
I don't know. You know,
I think-
if my house was on fire, I wouldn't want everybody knowing. If I had to move out and have my house maybe partially, yeah, I don't know. But that's
What I'm talking about is like
No.
dumpsters, people going around putting, I'm talking about
She's
the
talking about
small
the arson.
crimes that are going on. We need to
Vandalism,
know
yeah.
as people so that we can help and sort of watch out too.
Okay.
That's a
Well, good
point.
policy. Good neighbors watch out all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
okay,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Quincy Street Bistro,
Yes, I
it's
heard.
gonna open back up.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Is it the same people?
No,
No?
different folks. They're having a meeting here shortly. I think it's on the 24th of October. And again, I have all this, I should have printed this stuff out and I didn't, and my apologies for that. They are having a hearing, so they're gonna be hopefully opening back up.
Oh, good.
And then Bev, I'm gonna bring up the Loughborough situation with Ameren. Ameren has bought a couple of properties on Loughborough and wants to put a substation in.
Where
A
on
big
Loughborough?
one.
We know that.
Okay.
It's
5200
Loughborough,
lot.
Macklin.
Hey, Vicky, aren't they starting
Yeah.
to work on some of that? Because when I drive by it all the time, I see like in the back, they took off the siding on the back of that 2-family, you know what I mean?
They
What is-
have not been given permission yet to do anything.
Because I saw,
Yeah, Vicky.
I saw a bunch of
Vicky.
siding taken off of like the add-on on the back, and like there's cement broken up. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Vicky, they're definitely prepping that for demo.
Yep, I
They
feel
may
like
be prepping it for demo, but they haven't been given permission yet to put up the
They haven't.
substation. So they may be tearing the buildings down, but
Mhm.
that's as far as they're gonna get.
Okay.
And I don't think they've been approved for demolition yet.
No, they haven't been.
According to Dan Krasnoff, right?
Dan said no. He
Right.
was, yeah, he was going to get a hold of them because they can't demo without permission.
Yeah.
I just saw a bunch of trucks that were like an abatement team maybe. So maybe like the asbestos siding on the add-on. And I noticed all that's torn off now. That's all I saw that was done.
Okay.
And I was like, that's odd.
It's a shame they weren't taking care of the grass when it was high, and they're
Yeah.
already starting this without permission.
I
Yeah.
do know
Need
I
permission
hear
to
a lot
cut
more
grass.
Run by there on Thursday, and then I'll give Dan a call. And
Yeah, because
I'll post it on-
Vicky Spire's been out to disconnect it, I guess, because they've got Loughborough tore up in front of it. They've been out there doing something.
Oh my.
I was laughing, Derek, because that's one of the brand new sidewalks that they put in, and then
Oh.
Spire
And it's-
dug up right next to
Yeah.
it. So
Yep.
I have a brand new sidewalk in front of my house, and guess what? I have Spire sprayed all over my grass
Oh.
again. And I'm like, are they coming to me next? I'm gonna be pissed.
They're doing it. They're doing. If I'm not mistaken, aren't they doing pretty much everything
Yes,
in the
They're-
city?
yes, they are.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the only
Doing
house on my
everything.
street. I'm the only one on my street that I have all this stuff sprayed, and I just spent months growing all the grass seed after the sidewalk people.
Oh.
That's that's not fun.
Yeah.
Vicki, I have a question about gravel in Loughborough.
Okay.
Right there, that ground is sinking in again. And they dug that up, about a year ago, and it was all blocked off. But that is actually sinking in there at gravel in Loughborough.
By the
It's on
QT?
Huh?
At that
Corner.
intersection?
Not on the QT side,
The
It's,
other
um,
side.
the west side.
Do you know where Area 51 is supposed to be moving?
Yeah.
Just up
Into
right
the
there.
new
next to it.
building? It's well, they fixed it up. They're opposite from where they're located right now. It's
Okay.
right next to that building, right there at Loughborough, on
Okay.
Loughborough, right at Gravois.
It's
Huh.
sinking in again.
Okay. I'll talk to Zach,
Thank you.
which is never a problem. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
But I will I'll check it out, and then I'll let you all know.
Then I have a question for Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah, the small businesses in our neighborhood, for example, John Hampton, the flooring
Stand
guy.
by. Stand by.
Go ahead, Sharon.
The flooring guy, John, he filled out an application and they stopped at 800. Now they gave out to 800 businesses. Now
Right.
the city said they were going to put another million in. Can you check and see what his status is, if he's going to be able to get?
I don't know if I can. A lot of that is, it's not public record and stuff, a lot of the information.
Who does it go through?
Well, it all goes, like I said, it all goes through the feds, it goes through the mayor's office. I will see what I can do. I know he applied and got something for. We don't make any decisions on who gets it and who doesn't get it.
But he was at 900 and something, I think.
Yeah, well,
But
I'll
with the-
see if I can find out where he is on, I know they have all sorts of criteria as to who's gonna get it. How much COVID would have affected their business or not affected it, and different things like that. But I'll certainly check.
Okay, thank
They
you.
don't tell me that, they don't give me a list of businesses that got stuff yet, but I'll check, because my whole
I think
house-
that should be transparent and public
Yeah.
information.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know, there's a lot of personal things on there that businesses.
Well, not what they put in, but who has received the money, what
Yeah,
businesses.
Yeah, I know my
Thank
whole
you.
house is done with Hampton carpet, so.
But I mean, he's been a very loyal person to the neighborhood.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll see what I can find out. That's easy enough. to, try, yeah,
Thank you.
surely.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Does anybody have anything else they wanted to talk about or add? We can kind of go 12, 13, 14. Any of you guys have anything we missed?
So,
I thank the Alder people for being there.
oh, I'm glad. It's nice to hear and see everybody.
Hey, Beth, did you get a hold of the new owners on South Kings Highway about the grocery store,
Grocery store.
the international grocery store?
The one by the wine bar.
Right.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier, I guess, before you were here. I can call her anytime. When I said you and I would meet with her,
Okay.
that's what I would like to do, because as I said earlier with the meeting, is that we want her to sit down in front of us and, agree to all these things, that she, says, So, yeah, whatever, we
Make
should go
sure
there.
his story's consistent.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
you and I I can call her at any time. I have her number. So you and I, the three of us need to figure out a time. And I think it would be a good idea, like you said, to go to the business. We'll meet her there.
Okay.
And see, sure, anytime,
I personally feel all these little little confectionaries and everything, we do not need them in our neighborhood. I
Well, we
really
agree.
do, because they
It's not
start
going to be a
out,
convenience store.
yeah, but a convenience store, they start out being a convenience store, and then
No,
with
this
all
is
these
not
new
going to be a
license,
convenience store.
yeah,
Or
But
a
I mean-
bodega or whatever. She's calling it a boutique.
a boutique, so she's gonna sell.
Dry
Is
goods?
that what our young man was going to call his smoke shop, was a boutique?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing that at all,
Yeah,
but,
that's what he
yeah.
said in the hearing.
But
Well,
I think
I'd
we
like
need
to
to
ask-
sit down and talk with these people. These are business areas. They are commercial. And
Mhm.
so we have to, we can hold their feet to the fire, and I think we should as far as conditions, but we
Mhm.
can't just say no to everything that, that comes by. There were years ago, the idea of having a tattoo parlor would have terrified all of us, and now Carol's got one in her ward that looks beautiful. The building, the street, the streetscape, everything is wonderful, because the times have changed, I mean, there was a
Mhm.
time when none of us, the thought of a tattoo parlor
Yeah.
being in our neighborhood anywhere would have horrified us all. And now it's such an acceptable thing. And I see the one that's on Kings Highway there, and it's a
I don't know,
beautiful
what do you need?
place,
Makes
So,
me
The
want a
Kings Highway in
tattoo.
Winona, arch nemesis.
yeah.
She's got a beautiful little
I can
shop
leave
there.
now.
She does, cosmetic tattooing
it
and
doesn't
what
make
have
me
you.
want to get a tattoo, but.
Yeah.
Kind of does make me want to get a tattoo.
what's going in at Eichelberger and Kings Highway, that Connor building?
The train shop, which was the train shop, which was the grocery store, which was
The
the
filling station?
the filling station.
No,
That belongs.
across from the filling station. There's the church, the filling station church, and then that blank building. It was a
The old
reseller
organic?
shop, and then it
Oh,
became a
no, that-
restaurant.
That's been a
There-
studio
woman,
for 4 or 5 years.
No, a woman has piano lessons in there.
Right. It's a music studio.
Yeah,
Oh, is it? Okay.
she's
Yeah.
been there probably at least
4 or
5 years.
5
You're probably
years,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. She does real well. I talked to Bernie Elking owns that building, and I talked to him, how's she doing through this, and he goes, I guess okay. The rent comes every month. So he says, as long as the rent's coming in, I don't ask. So
And she's affiliated with Webster Groves University.
right. Yeah, Webster
Mhm.
University. She's apparently does well. I know I've seen, cars parked out there, I guess when she does her when they do their and what do they call it? Recitals. So it seems like she does real well.
Well, that's
So,
good. That's good.
I think that's a good mix in there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
we
Kings
need
Highway
more like that.
Kings Highway Baptist changed
There's
its
no
name
longer.
too.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Is it a new minister too?
You know, there was a new minister there and he was going to open adult daycare, but I don't think that ever came to fruition. And I don't know if it's since changed hands because I noticed he was Haitian and he
Right.
was doing a service in French, I guess.
Right.
Mhm.
And then doing another, but I noticed all that's gone. So I don't know if it
Yeah.
changed hands and it's now, I can't remember the name of it, but it's on the side of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess they don't need anything, so they didn't contact me.
Folks, I hate
Vicky.
to interrupt. I've got to take off. I've got an emergency situation, so I have a 40-minute ride one way.
Oh,
So
Lord.
I will talk to
Okay,
you
well,
later.
Be
Take
careful.
care, be careful.
Sorry.
Good
Thanks.
night, Bev.
I'll talk to you later.
All right,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Before we go,
Okay.
Vicky, you had something, I think.
I did. I was going to ask all of you, not Beth and not Carol, how you feel about city employees not having to live in the city.
I am okay with it. This is Jen.
Hi, Jen.
I think it's fine. I remember back in the day when I was looking for my first accounting job, I applied to a city job, and I remember it kind of was like, oh, I have to move within so many days if I was to get this. So I am okay with it. It doesn't bother me them living elsewhere.
Okay, thank you.
And I am ambivalent about it. I would like the people that have jobs in the city to be invested in the jobs personally. But
Mhm.
I don't think we have the talent pool to necessarily fill all the jobs that we need. I mean, obviously they have to lighten the requirements for jobs that they can't fill, like some of the more executive jobs. So,
Right.
yeah. And I think
Okay.
that's the case for, you're talking about tree trimmers, things like that, and policemen perhaps. But I do want the people to be invested in the city, and if all they're doing is collecting a paycheck, I'm not sure that indicates they are invested.
Right.
Well,
Here.
and I
Sharon, Derek?
think that, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think I agree a lot with what both of them said. You can, like, I work out in the county, and I feel like I don't need to live out there to do the job well, and to care about the community that I'm serving. But on the other hand, it is nice knowing that, one of the longtime assistants to the Board of Aldermen used to, lives a couple blocks from me, and got a firefighter next to me. I've got a airport cop down the street, so it's reassuring to know that those people are around geographically, they're near us. But then on the other hand, I look and I know that the Cruisen administration offered some residency waivers and they were never applied for. And so part of me then wonders too, is like, will this actually help? But I think in terms of simple jobs like forestry and plumbing and just your very day-to-day stuff, IT techs and things like that aren't public service related necessarily, I do think that Bill made a good point in that you want to draw from those talent pools, Afton, Webster, Clayton. You want those people to be able to come in and work, because if they're skilled in their job, why not have them? Which is maybe different than a policeman, but I agree with what you all said too, which is that judge the person by the person wearing the badge, not necessarily where they live. We have people in the city that I don't think should be cops because of the way they conduct themselves. So, it's more about your character than about your location sometimes too.
Well, I personally, myself, as far as policemen, if I was a policeman, I'd never come into the city to work. I mean, they have to be crazy to work in the city.
I can speak to that. I said my husband is a retired police officer for 37 years. And just a little aside, when we were first buying our home, we looked around the neighborhood that I live in right now. And he was a police officer and I was a brand new teacher. And they wanted us to put 20% down, to buy a house. They weren't selling houses in the city, it wasn't like redlining, obviously, because that was more of a, black-white thing. but they wanted so much down that we were forced to buy a home in the county for a short time, see, because they didn't require that we had 20% down. So the idea was that, we would buy, build up some equity and come back, which is exactly what we did. So 2 points. My husband was a cop, and because he could live wherever he wanted. Of course, we came home. But when we lived in the county, he was no less professional than when he lived in the city. And I was a public school teacher. And when I lived in the county for that, short time, I taught at Peabody in the projects. I was no less professional. It didn't matter where I lived. I'm a teacher. My husband was a police officer. We were dedicated public servants. It didn't matter where we lived. Now some of the tables were turned. Of course, we moved back in the city because I wanted my kids to walk to school and, run on people's lawns like we did when we were kids. So we moved back to the city so the kids could go to grade school and whatever, high school. And then I found myself living in the city, working in the county. I was with Special School District at Bayless. Again, I was no less invested in those children at Bayless than the man, you do what, that from being a teacher or whatever. If you're a professional, it doesn't matter.
You're a professional no matter where. Yeah.
And so I've
For
done
sure.
all of it. And so I keep thinking, it's just another little aside, and then I will be quiet. It's very hard for police officers sometimes to be in the city. I know that, again, because we spent most of our time. We would have a pizza delivered one time. My husband looked through the peephole, the doorbell rang, and he goes, "Oh my God, you answer that door," to me. He said, because they arrested that man last night. See, and then that guy that they arrested knows where Tim lives now. See, and so there's all sorts of things that when you're not in the position, you don't get, you don't understand. Tim can't walk down the street without being asked 20 questions. When he was a police officer, people called us 24 hours a day when something happened in the neighborhood, and he was more than happy to help. But it's easy for people that are not police officers to say they should live right where everything is, where they're working with people and everything. It's a whole altogether different. And I'm done.
It's an interesting comparison too that I didn't really think about, is that we don't really require our teachers to live in districts.
Exactly.
And
you don't think like you said, you're no less professional because you live in the city and work in the county. And I felt the same way, when I did it both, and I know my husband did too. So.
And I can speak to that. I lived here. I taught here. I taught at Cleveland. And many of the kids knew where I lived, but back then it was like, "Oh, we know where she lives."
Yeah.
Now it's
Now
like,
it might
let us bomb her house. I just the world has changed a whole lot. What we had as a line that and I don't want to seem too archaic here, but there was a bit of respectability. It doesn't seem there's respect for authority anymore, or for people that do serve the population, teachers, firefighters, police, public servants. It doesn't seem there's that respect anymore that there used to be. It is what it is, as they say, what it is. But at the same time, I can understand. I mean, I grew up in a police officer's house, and I always felt safe, but I don't know in this day and age I would feel safe, knowing that my father was a police officer, that we would become a target possibly. I don't know. Maybe I'm over dramatizing, but it's a different world.
But they can always find out no matter where you live. In
Oh,
today's
I
world,
agree. Yeah,
they can find out any place you live.
I have a friend who was a correction officer in the county, and worked in Clayton, and he lived in the city, and he felt that wasn't quite far enough away. He now lives in Waterloo. He's now retired, but it's sort of like a police officer's job, and that you may make somebody mad at you, and they're in the prison, or they got arrested for reasons that meant that you might have a legitimate reason.
Well, and the other side of that is the embarrassment, the person that was arrested. I mean, oh, this guy knows I was arrested. To me, I would be embarrassed. But
Well,
But
I have a lot of
you're more normal.
I have a lot of respect for
That's what you
those.
say.
I have a lot of respectability for those public employees or those public servants. I've been out of water since 1:30 this afternoon, and they're still down there working away. So,
Oh, wow.
and they're going to be working until they get it fixed. So I have a lot of appreciation for all of that.
Absolutely.
What are they doing about the infrastructure in the city of St. Louis? Because a lot of the water lines are old. Are they actually putting any money into it, or?
Oh, yeah, Metropolitan Sewer District that's why our sewer bills are so high. They're constantly doing things. And I think now the water department, they're maybe still doing a little more, catch up, with things and patching. Yeah, because our infrastructure is very old. I said it was neglected for 100 years. Nobody
Right.
gets reelected for maintenance,
You're right.
I mean, think about it. That's what I remember thinking, nobody gets elected because they, fixed all these things that we never thought were even broke. Say, well, then now we got to pay the piper,
And I doubt that the sewer department would be doing as much as they are doing if they hadn't been required by the federal government to stop
Exactly.
putting raw sewage in the river.
And there's
Right.
there's federal dollars into that also.
An enormous
You know.
amount of federal dollars.
Right.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think that the federal government needs to step up and look at nationally, the infrastructure, because there's many aging cities that have the same problem, as well as rural,
Oh, yeah.
outlying areas that are suffering the same thing that were built. So we'll see.
Well, we've taken up an hour of your time, so how about we call it
Okay.
a night?
Thank
we
you
really
very
appreciate
We
it.
could talk all
Thank
night.
you.
Good. Yeah,
We
we
really
could.
could. So the next time, hopefully, the next time we meet, there'll have been a big election. So everybody go vote. Make sure you get that taken care of. I don't think any of the major polling places have moved, and absentee starts soon. So we'll see you. Maybe we'll see you out at the polls on November 3rd, or we'll talk to you sometime in November or December.
Also, if there's anybody out there that hasn't filled their census form out, please do
Oh,
it.
yeah. You have till the end of the month at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Thank you,
evening.
everybody.
Have a good weekend.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good to see everybody.